Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to welcome each and every one of you all to our Tupelo City Council meeting of Tuesday, March the 1st. At this time, I'd ask each one to stand as Mike Bryan is in charge of our invocation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce Jeff Robbins from Cornerstone Church here in Tupelo. They just started a new church in East Tupelo several months ago, correct?
4 months ago.
4 months ago, so it's up and running in East Tupelo. Last summer, they went to the beach on a mission trip, and my daughter went with a group of girls with them. So I trust him and his family and his church with my daughter, so I asked him to come here tonight. Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. Now let's bow our heads. God, we thank you so much for everything that you have blessed us with. God, we thank you that we have this incredible opportunity that we can come and meet and just make decisions that affect so many lives. God, and so we pray for wisdom. We ask that the council have your wisdom. James 1:5 tells us if we lack it, we can ask of you and you will give it to us generously without finding fault. And God, we have so much that we have to be grateful for. God, we're very thankful that we can call home Tupelo, the greatest city and the greatest state and the greatest nation. And God, for that, we are forever grateful. And we give you thanks. And it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Remain standing and allow me to introduce to you this young scout, Mr. Lincoln Jones, as he leads us in our pledge. Mr. Lincoln Jones.
Attention, salute, pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order and would ask our Vice President, Mr. Lynn Bryan, for a confirmation or amendment of our agenda and the agenda order.
I make a motion that we confirm the agenda and agenda order.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Lynn Bryan, a second by Mr. Marco Whittington. All in favor? That is unanimous. We'll begin tonight with item 4, proclamations, recognitions, and reports agenda, with the first recognition of our Boy Scout. Mayor?
Thank you, President Palmer. We just saw Mr. Lincoln Jones. He is with Troop 12 here at First United Methodist Church, and he is with us tonight in addition to leading us in the pledge, but working on his citizenship merit badge on his way to becoming an Eagle Scout. So he is the son of Wesley and Paula Jones. Lincoln, if you don't mind standing, can we please welcome him to Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll now go to item 4.2, recognition of city employees.
Thank you. If we could, Irie Gladney. I didn't. Of course, the council's familiar, and one of the things that we enjoy doing at each of the council meetings is recognizing our team members that make the city of Tupelo run smoothly on a daily basis. While you often see a council member, a mayor, or department head in the newspaper or on the television, it's the men and women that make up the 400 plus team members of the city of Tupelo that make our city run smoothly on a daily basis. So at this time, on behalf of the council and administration of the city of Tupelo, with sincere appreciation and thanks, would like to recognize Mr. Irie L. Gladney for 10 years of dedicated employment with the Tupelo Fire Department. Thank you, Mr. Gladney. At this time, it's a very, very special honor to recognize Ms. Pat Raspberry. She is, in addition to being someone I've known and looked up to, even though she's just a year or two older than me, but looked up to since I was a small child. She has just put her heart and soul in the city of Tupelo with all of her hard work, from leading the Tupelo Film Festival and Film Commission to just working day in and day out through many trials and tribulations and health battles and everything else. But she has put her heart and soul into making the city of Tupelo a better place. So at this time, on behalf of the council, administration, and the city of Tupelo, with sincere appreciation and thanks, would like to recognize Patricia A. Raspberry for 30 years of dedicated employment with the Tupelo Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you, Pat.
At this time, I just saw another Boy Scout come in. Mayor, would you introduce him, please?
This is Mr. Carter Brown, son of Jen and
Chan.
Help me out.
Chan.
And Marty Brown, and he's also a Troop 12. Can you stand?
Thank you. We'll now go to item 4.3, public recognitions.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mike Bryant.
I would, Tupelo Park and Rec Department, along with the city of Tupelo, we all welcome everyone out to the North Mississippi Cherry Blossom Festival, Sunday, March 13th at 2 o'clock at Ballard Park. It's going to be a lot of fun, entertainment for the whole entire family, and I hope we will see everyone out there. Hope you get a chance to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Bryant. Anyone else? If you'd allow me, I just saw Miss Pat Raspberry's better half, Mr. John Raspberry, a good friend of mine, and I'd like to welcome him to our council meeting. Let's give him a round of applause.
You trying to stretch this thing out.
Yeah, thank you, John. At this time, we'll go to item 4.4, our mayor's report.
Thank you, President Palmer. Would like to begin, and I won't read his entire note, but I did receive a very kind note from Mayor Jack Reed Jr. To specifically ask to thank each and every council member for the recognition of his father who passed, Jack Reed Sr., and then the special presentation at the State of the City. So just wanted to pass that along from Mayor Reed to each of the members of the council. Councilman Bryan mentioned the Cherry Blossom Festival. Just echo those remarks, and the only thing I would add to that is that this is the first in the state of Mississippi, and something that we're very proud of. Mr. Greg Perkle is here tonight, and he's chairman, of course, of the Major Thoroughfare Committee. Those items on the agenda, and just particularly for the citizens at home, would again ask for public support. And of course, I know that it goes without saying, but ask for the council's support in public and the administration, department heads, as we work toward that on May 3rd. That program has just had such a phenomenal impact on the city of Tupelo, and something we hope to continue over the next 5 years. The Empty Bowls luncheon from the Salvation Army is tomorrow from 11 till 1. We just again invite the public to that wonderful event. Would like to thank each of our senators and representatives in Jackson. They are fighting hard on behalf of the Tupelo, Lee County, Etowah County community to build, or to secure funds to build the Vietnam Wall here in the city of Tupelo, and would again ask for any public support for that. That's a true public-private partnership that is the result of a citizen-led initiative, and something that I think we'll be very, very proud of once it's completed. I wanted to remind everyone that the Lee County Library's fundraiser dinner, A Novel Affair, is March 4th at the Bancorp South Center. The Our Mississippi Honors Gala is March 12th at the Conference Center. Both are phenomenal events. Wanted to just briefly, and the council is probably aware, but just for the public at home, the East Main Street project is 63% complete and still on track to be completed in June. Our 2 storm shelters and the Thayer Nichols splash pad are also on schedule, and the Tupelo Police Headquarters is on schedule with an August completion date. And other than, I told my friend William Hurd, he was in the paper Saturday, that I would give him a special thanks and recognition. He promises to be at home watching. That would conclude my report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Shelton. Thank you very much. At this time, you have to be watch this real quick. We're going to close our regular meeting, open the public agenda. Item 5, public agenda. There are no items, so now we're going to close the public agenda and return to the regular meeting. Beginning with item 6, action agenda. 6.1, review, adopt ordinance establishing street improvement priorities for the Tupelo Major Thoroughfare Plan Phase 6.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lynn Bryan and a second by Mr. Whittington. Mayor, would you like to comment on this? I know you already have a little.
I'm sorry, I was distracted in my stroll over here, and I didn't quite hear what I needed to comment on, but I'm sure it's great.
Any other discussion, council? All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Item 6.2, review, approve order closing and vacating a portion of Beach Springs Road right-of-way.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Beard, a second by Ms. Davis. Discussion? There is no discussion. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. We'll now go to the routine agenda, item 7.1, beginning with 7.1. Review, approve minutes of our regular council meeting of Tuesday, February 16th.
I move that we would approve the minutes of the regular meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Davis, a second by Mr. Jennings. All in favor? Thank you. Item number 7.2, review and pay bills.
Mr. President, I make a motion we pay bills.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Jennings, a second by Mr. Whittington. Tonight, we had Ms. Nettie Davis, Mr. Willie Jennings, and Travis Beard that paid the bills. All in favor of paying these bills? That's unanimous. Go to item 7.3, review and approve appointments to, we'll start with A, the Accountability Task Force.
Make a motion to approve the appointment.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Whittington, a second by Mr. Mike Bryan. Mayor?
Thank you, President Palmer. Could at this time ask Ms. Margaret Collins please stand, introduce her. Ms. Collins will be the Ward 1 representative on the Accountability Task Force. She is a Tupelo native, a double major honors graduate at the University of Mississippi in broadcast journalism and political science. She's the director of marketing for both Business Loan and Leasing Incorporated and Village Realty Incorporated. And I think she'll do an excellent job keeping us all straight on the Accountability Task Force, and would just respectfully request the confirmation of her nomination at this time.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor? We sure appreciate you accepting this. Thank you. We'll now review and approve appointment to the Bancorp South Arena Board.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Mike Bryan, a second by Mr. Whittington. Mayor?
Thank you, President Palmer. Ms. Crump could not be here tonight, but we did, as Ms. Nettie so eloquently stated yesterday, she happens to be related to Coach Fred Davis, and she is a lifelong resident of the city of Tupelo, an employee of North Mississippi Medical Center, has always been very involved in charitable and community events in the city of Tupelo. She's currently working with the Mayor's Outreach Task Force and other concerned citizens on the effort to raise funds for the water drive for the Tupelo to Flint program. And, you know, I think she is replacing or nominated to replace Mr. Ivy on the board. While the Arena Commission does not specifically have a minority representative, it just so happens that Mr. Ivy was the only minority on the board, and Ms. Crump would be a minority representative for that board. So with that, we just respectfully request the confirmation of her nomination at this time.
Any other comments, council? All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 7.4, review approved professional services contracts for West Tupelo Sewer CDBG, which means Community Development Block Grant. Beginning with item A, approve the agreement with Cook Coggins Engineers Incorporated as a project engineer.
I move to approve the agreement with Cook Coggins Engineer as project engineer for West Tupelo Sewer CDBG grant.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Mike Bryan. We have a second by Mr. Lynn Bryan. Mayor Shelton.
Thank you, President Palmer. These are the actual contracts. So the council has already voted to award the bids, award the projects, and this is just the actual contract to authorize us to enter the contract as a result of the bids and so forth, and just to keep that project moving forward. And again, the Kellogg's project is a pass-through project that no cost, excuse me, this is different. I misspoke there. This is the contract on the bids for the CDBG project, not the Kellogg's project.
Mr. Mayor, any comments? All in favor of item 8? That's unanimous. We'll now go to review approved professional services contract for West Tupelo Sewer CDBG. Item B, approved contract between the city and Three Rivers Planning and Development District Incorporated.
So moved.
We have a motion by Ms. Nettie Davis, a second by Mr. Mike Bryan. Mayor Shelton.
This is the same. This is to authorize the administration to enter the contract to complete this project.
Thank you. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item 7.5, review approved construction contract for Kellex roofing project.
Make a motion, we approve the contract.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Whittington, a second by Mr. Jennings. Mayor Shelton.
Thank you. This is what I was so excited to get to a moment ago. This is the Kellex project that is being done. It's passed through at no cost to the city. It's already been approved, the bids and whatnot, and this is authorizing the administration to enter that contract.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other questions? All in favor? That's unanimous. Item 7.6, review approved fair housing resolution.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Whittington, a second by Mr. Bryan. Mayor Shelton.
Thank you, President Palmer. This is a requirement from ultimately HUD, but the Mississippi Development Authority for every city that will apply for CDBG grants. That city must pass a fair housing resolution. It is similar to the other mandates and grants that the city of Tupelo does not discriminate in housing on the basis of race, color, religion, gender, or national origin, and is required for us to continue to apply for and receive those type of grants.
Thank you, Mayor Shelton. Any questions? All in favor? Be unanimous. Thank you. Go to item 7.7, review approve application for tax abatement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Travis Beard, a second by Mr. Whittington. Mayor Shelton.
Thank you, President Palmer. This is part of the tornado, or the aftermath of the tornado, the part of the incentive package that the council passed to provide incentives for business owners not only to rebuild in the areas damaged by the tornado, but to build back bigger and better than they were before. This is the Express Lube owned by Mr. Randy Gruber there on North Gloucester Street. He was the first business that was completely destroyed to build back from the ground up. It is not a tax abatement in the sense that he will not pay property taxes, but it caps the property tax that he will pay at what he was paying before the tornado, even though he would currently be assessed at a higher level, and this abatement will be in place for 5 years.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor? That's unanimous. Item 7.8, review approve Bel Air Golf Course Management Agreement.
So moved.
Mr. Lindbrine made the motion, second by Mr. Markle Whittington. Mayor Shelton.
Thank you, President Palmer. This is a renewal of our annual contract. While the city of Tupelo owns the municipal golf course, more commonly known as Bel Air Golf Course, this privatization effort means that the city of Tupelo does not actually run it, and that no city employees are needed to run it, to contract that out for the city of Tupelo. This has been done for numerous years, and would just ask for the renewal of this lease at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions? All in favor? That's unanimous. 7.9, review approve sole source purchase for Tupelo Police Department.
I move that we would approve sole source purchase for Tupelo Police Department.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Nettie Davis, a second by Mr. Beard. Mayor Shelton.
Thank you, President Palmer. This is for the purchase of a law enforcement firearms training system and Blue Fire weapon simulator. It is requested that it be a sole source because of the highly advanced system, the one-of-a-kind nature of this system. It meets the criteria to be a sole source, and certainly would enhance the training ability for the police officers.
Any other questions? I will say this, I had the opportunity, and actually a real privilege of getting on this instrument or whatever, and I shot it, and it is going to be an amazing addition for our police department. And by the way, I did pretty good. I hit some things. Thank you. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. 7.10, review approved request to surplus item for North Mississippi Narcotics Unit and transfer to another county.
Make a motion, we approve the request.
We have a motion by Mr. Whittington, a second by Mr. Willie Jennings.
No. Second.
We're gonna transfer narcotics.
I'm sorry, do what now? I'm sorry, Mike Bryan? Lynn Bryan, excuse me. I was perfect up until then. Okay, Mayor?
Thank you, President Palmer. This is a request by Chief Aguirre on behalf of the police department and ultimately the North Mississippi Narcotics Unit. This is a radio transmitter or receiver that is not used by the city of Tupelo, and it would not fit with the equipment utilized by the city of Tupelo. It was purchased in part with funds from Tishomingo County. Tishomingo County has left their affiliation with the North Mississippi Narcotics Unit, so the request is to surplus this item and then transfer it or donate it to the Tishomingo County Sheriff's Department.
Any further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous. 7.11, review approved resolution of declaration of surplus vehicles by the North Mississippi Narcotics Unit and authorized disposal of same.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Lynn Bryan, a second by Mr. Mike Bryan. Again, Mayor Shelton.
Thank you, President Palmer. This, as we'll also see in item 7.13, these are vehicles, and I think there's 7 vehicles listed there in your packet. These are vehicles that have been seized primarily by the North Mississippi Narcotics Unit for being involved in some type of drug activity. It's required that city declare those vehicles surplus, and then, as again we'll see in 7.13, to be sold at auction.
Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. 7.12, review approve the request for special police detail at Home Depot.
I move that we will approve the request.
I'll second for now.
We have a motion by Ms. Nettie Davis, a second by Mr. Travis Beard. Mayor Shelton.
Thank you, President Palmer. This is a routine request that different, usually major businesses, employers, the mall, and this case happens to be Home Depot, but request the ability to hire off-duty certified police officers to work security at their location. This request is for 13 different officers who are listed in the packet there. The officers would be allowed to wear their uniform. They would be allowed to carry their service weapon, and they would maintain their arrest power as they would have as a Tupelo police officer. But this would be their off-duty time. They'd be compensated by Home Depot, and any actions would be covered by the liability insurance or corporate home office of Home Depot.
Any discussion? All approve? That is so moved. Okay, we'll go to item 7.13. Review approved listing of surplus items for the city of Tupelo.
Make a motion, we approve the listing.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Whittington, a second by Mr. Jennings. Again, Mayor, Mr.
Thank you, President Palmer. This is, as I alluded to moments ago, the complete list of items for both salvage and surplus. There is an Exhibit A, which would take too long to read, but pretty exhaustive list of different items that the request from our city clerk and CFO, Kim Hanna, is to surplus and salvage, to use it, to maintain any usable parts. And then Exhibit B would be those items which will be sold at auction to the public. And just as a reminder again, and I know the council is aware, no employees of the city of Tupelo are eligible to bid on items at the auction, but it is otherwise open to the public.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Mayor, these items, they already been repurchased. We don't have to repurchase all of these, do we?
I don't.
Sometime, no.
The department, I don't know. I mean, I know exactly what you're asking, Councilman Jennings. I can't specifically say whether the departments have replaced each and every one of these items, but each and every one of these items are either an item that cannot be used by the department or the drug forfeiture vehicles. So if it's, if it's a computer, the department may not have necessarily replaced that particular computer. They no longer need the one that's being surplus.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. 7.14, review adopt resolution requesting the Mississippi Legislature to authorize additional funding and extend the deadline for the Mississippi Historic Tax Credit.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Lynn Bryan, a second by Mr. Marshall Whittington. Mayor Shelton.
Thank you, President Palmer. This gives me an opportunity to redeem myself from my mayor's report. I forgot to mention that just today, Debbie received her annual certification of Tupelo being a certified downtown Mississippi Main Street city. This resolution 7.14, the resolution requesting the Mississippi Legislature, is not directly related to that accreditation, but is part of their mission to continue to be able to provide the historic tax credits. The Mississippi legislature allotted, I think it was $60 million, but a substantial sum of money for this program. And apparently the program has exhausted all of its funds. So this request is to, on behalf of the City of Tupelo's Historic Preservation Society, request the legislature to continue funding that program.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor? That's unanimous. We'll now begin with our study agenda. Item 8, beginning with 8.1, review, discuss development agreement of the Tupelo Crossroads LLC.
Move it up.
Move it up.
Okay, that item will be moved up. The second item is 8.2, review, discuss resolution calling for a special election major thoroughfare program phase 6.
Move it up.
Move it up.
That item is also moved up. At this time, I would entertain a motion to determine a need to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Jennings, a second by Mr. Mike Bryan. Our attorney, Mr. Logan.
President Palmer, we have the matter of the acquisition of property and community and economic development of one of our neighborhoods. If we could ask, and I believe that we do have a proper subject matter for executive session. If we go into executive session, I would ask that the council consider that the mayor, Kim Hanna, Don Lewis, Johnny Timmons, Shane Hooper, and Pat Faulkner, Duke Loden, and George Taylor be asked to remain in executive session.
Okay. All in favor of this motion to determine a need? That's unanimous. I now entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I move that we would go into executive session.
Ms. Nettie Davis,
Second.
and Mr. Mike Brown seconded. All in favor? That's unanimous. We appreciate y'all coming. Y'all come back.